I took some thick, basically sketch paper. I have a lot of it, so it's like kind of a cross between regular paper and poster board. So what I did, I held the bottom edge of it up here, held it very firm, and then proceeded to draw a line up here to where basically this laps around and it stops right here where it butts up against this outer skin. So I know for sure we're going to do this section, and might as well go up here to the top and just replace the whole thing. So I got the curve here, and then they even drew this little lip where it goes around that screw hole. You can kind of see it like that. So I'll go ahead and cut the rest of this strip out, and it should represent this whole piece. And then I don't have a long enough piece, so what I'll do, I'll just cut a piece here, tack it on the top, and then just continue it until it comes up to this seam. And then what I'll do from there, it'll give me a record of what this was. Now, what I'll do then is carefully trim it out and just cut it away, and then access up in here, and I'll also be able to see what's going on inside of here. Okay, so we got our template cut out off of this. You see it's got the little notch. I've kind of peeled this out already a little bit, but comes up here and it eliminates at the top. So this will give you that. This is basically our record of what we got here. So when we cut this out, we won't be lost or anything. It'll give us a good marker. And I took the marker and drew around it. So I'll cut a little on the shy side of all this, and then that'll kind of give us something that when we make that piece, we can just fit it in there real nice. So I'm going to start cutting away on this. And just be careful with it so that we don't get too carried away. We cut too deep because we want to kind of record the piece that's in behind it. All right, so here's what we got. We cut the basically that out, and we have our rust that we've seen before right here, where it came through both pieces, and the piece slipped down there around that screw hole, all the way up here, and there's where it ended. From what I could tell, this is just a little scaly. Might be a little thin. But really, I'd say right here. This is where it's obvious. Might cut it up here a little bit. You can feel the back side of it's a little crusty. So I'll probably go from here. And since it actually goes in behind there, I might just butt it up on top of this piece here, which is part of the jam. So we have that, and like I showed you earlier, right here. But we'll worry about that and then this part separately. We'll just get this piece in and see how far we can get. I should probably add, when I do the piece here, I might do it separately. Make it one piece and then merge it in with this since it's on a curve and an angle. But obviously this piece here where it wraps around. So I'm gonna, jab at it and see where there's any other bad. And it seems to be kind of confined to that area there. You can see it looks a little rough in here, but most of that's behind this. We'll just have to seal it really good. Okay, so I'm about ready to cut this section out, clean this up a little bit, and I went ahead and bent my pieces, and these pieces were based completely off of little templates that I made, much like that one there that we drew up. So here they are, and basically just cut them to size. So this one, I went ahead and put the curve on it, and you're just testing it up with what we have there. So like I said, I'm going to set it right on top of that jam this line right here on both of them. You might have a little bit of overhang, but just make it, if it wants to fit in a certain way, go ahead and let it. So this one will sit here, and then not much gap in there. And then here, what I'll do is I'll tape it on there. And we're at a point where we can get a tack. And this one's got a nice little, I'm sorry, this piece here, it's got a nice little curve here. And it got a little wrap around here because it takes a little bit of a bend around. And there's going to be a little bit of a gap here, I noticed, when you do put them together. See that? But we want it to fit really nice. So what I'm going to do, since I have two hands and so many ways to press them together, I'll get this piece of tape out here. And I want that there. It fits that contour really nice. Make sure it's good here. This is more important than anything. Here, down here. That's where we want it, right there. Fit this one up and set it in the vicinity of that line. Kind of pin it in place that way. And tape around. It's tricky, I'll say that. So you can kind of feel it around a little bit. And right about there is where I want it. And that's pretty firm where you get these two pieces together. So I'll fire up the welder and I'll tack it here and I'll play these into place. Tack it and hold it for a second so it doesn't move on you. Okay. Now this here, like I said, we have this gap right here. We'll fill that from the back side. But right here they come back together again. Like that. We get rid of this because we don't need it anymore. And there we go. There's our piece. And we will go ahead and tack it from the back side. That way when we go to grind it, and we'll replicate the curved bend on there. When we go to do that with the grinder, we won't be cutting making it too thin or cutting it to where you cut it away. You'll have weld back here and it'll allow you enough to have a nice curve, that compound curve to make this in the frame. Getting this van back together, we're doing an A-pillar post area, and last night we did this here. You know, you've been watching it, you've seen it right here along the side, and rust proofed all this up here, sealed it up really good. And here's our piece that will go over it. Now it fits up there pretty good, really nicely against the actual seam, but it kind of pops out because it's got a lot of shape to it. So I think the best thing to do is get a few places tacked up really good, and then when the heat's kind of saturated it, we can probably put the rest of it, push it down, mallet down a little bit, and then get the spot welds established. So we'll just start on that and see what we can do. And I got this sticking out a little, or this part here is down. This one's too far in. When you saw me pull it down a little bit, that was to flush this up. Well, it's still down here. It's good there, good here, but it needs to be brought back out a little bit. So I'll grab the screwdriver or something to pull it out with. It's gonna fight me a little bit. It don't want to pop out, but it should. So what I can do, I can go ahead and move elsewhere with it. Alright, we got really good tack system going up here. There's a little bit of a spot here where it needs to be brought out. I might be able to compromise on it. It's not bad, it's me being a perfectionist in me, I guess. So it has a little bit of a lip there. I'd rather it be flush, much like it was up here. So we're good here, but you can see the shadows in here where the spot welds go and a little bit of gap here. I'm fine with this to this point, but what we got to do, we'll have to pinch this down flush. So here's what's working pretty good in this situation. We do have something back here to grab onto, although you got to be careful not to tear up your body line here. But it didn't take too much pressure, just a little bit of firmness to get this down to where it's flush enough where we can put a spot weld in here. And it's barely holding on there, but it's enough so we can work with it. And then just gradually move it up here next to this one and do the same thing and just proceed until you have the whole thing buckled down. On these spot welds, if you're doing using a MIG welder like I am, I usually don't hit it in the middle. I'll hit it on the side and try to grab the metal first, and then just work around like in a circle. So we got the little bit here welded. We got spot welded with the clamp, all that business. I went ahead and used the other half of my little template and made the piece here. And I'm trimming on it a little bit, so it'll set right on top of the one we put in. And it extends all the way to right here where my fingernail is. And it's one of the things where the template was pretty flat against it when I took the drawing off of it. So really the metal, I'm kind of amazing what it will and won't do. So we've got our piece bent, drilled, shaved about as close as we can get it at this point. And I'm sure it'll need a little bit of work. For some reason this one seems more intimidating than this one. I don't know, it looks simpler, but I guess we'll see once we get into it. So I'll probably start here, jump to there, and see if I could wrestle it into this position here. Because once you flatten it, it kind of wants to come over. But we'll see. Sometimes it just depends on where you start. Like a minute ago, I pushed it up here, and it looks like okay this way, but then I get ready to weld it, it might give me a different interpretation. try these. Need the clamp here. I think that'll help us out. Might hold. Yeah, no. I don't really want this to overlap that. I'd rather it be the other way around. Kind of did it here, so it'll give us some consistency. So, right through here, I like that. Or, yeah, I really like that. Like I barely even feel the seam there. So we'll give it an anchor there. And don't get too liberal about it and start jumping away, because it could change within a few inches. I think we're good here, so I could actually go ahead and extend that, maybe even run the spot weld, but I'll hold off on the spot weld, try to contain that. And so I'll just put a few more there to anchor that in. I'm really concerned about that up there, but I think it might flatten out once you get it up in there. Still concerned about that. I might have to even cut it a little bit to get a bend or to bring it back this way. I feel like it'll want to go over top of everything. The template may have been a little bit crooked on that part. Went ahead and did the spot welds, here, and started this one here, just in case I had to break it loose. I don't think I do. And you can see here where this tracks inward, it needs to kind of move that way. So what I did, I took two little chop marks right here with the cutting wheel. I didn't go all the way through back here, but I pretty much did there. Just enough where I can kind of peel this out. And hopefully you can see what we're going to do here. Okay, so if you get that, I'll set this up. Okay. Here we go. So give it enough flex to where you can kind of pinch it back together, because this windshield rail kind of curves in. So this helped us achieve that. And what we do, we'll just weld this back together. There's all the crap falling out. We'll have to blow a lot of that out too. It's pretty nasty up there. But it's gotta come out. Here's the result. Got some boogers from the weld, but we're gonna flappy that down. It's really tight up against the framework here. Pretty happy with that. So along with cleaning up the weld and making this have a nice radius, we'll have to take this bit of metal down, but we just gotta kind of flush it back to about the way it is here. So from about here up, we'll get that flushed in. Smooth all this out, all the spot welds and everything. And now we've got everything smoothed out, at least on a rough smooth out, if that makes any sense. Went through and touched up. Here's where the seam was. Touched up a couple places that just kind of moved over. 1/16 of an inch at the most. Went over it twice. There's a couple spots I might do again. So pretty good. You can also use seam sealer or something, but this might be an exposed edge when we get it the van done. In most cases this was exposed. It was painted the color of the body. So we just want to make it as nice as possible in case we don't put a covering over it or any kind of an A-pillar molding. So what I'm going to do next is get up into this part, cut this piece out, make a piece for it. That'll be pretty simple, just have a little bit of a curve to it. Up in here, same thing. It'll probably be about that wide. And I'm going to guess maybe this long, just at the most. And it'll just be a long rectangular strip. And you'll form it to fit up in there. We'll have to cut this out though. So something like this, I think I'll go ahead and just trim it out. And probably the same thing on that one, because all the shapes that are defined here are really obvious. So you'll just match basically what this is doing here, and then it'll have a little bit of a curve to it. So we'll just do a paper template, real easy, a few seconds.